Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Maddles and you're watching another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got Game 1 and it is the only game in this series and it is between NSHSage, who is the red Protoss player in the top left, and LiquidZenio, who is the blue Zerg in the lower right. It is from the Razer Replay pack of the week, starring the good old Mr. Zenio, and well, the map's a Hana. I'm really looking forward to this. It is a ZvP. I am freshly back from Insomnia 46, the UK's biggest gaming festival, and well, this is probably not going to be released anywhere close to that. Probably about a week or so after I've actually arrived back, because I'm off to the London Paralympic Games to do loads of work up there, so I'm super excited, and I'm just doing a mass cast on at the moment to basically keep putting out that daily content you all know and love. So do subscribe, because yeah, new games up every single day. Now, obviously, it's going to be a fast expand our stage here. That's demonstrated by the fact the pylon is on the low ground. It's a Hana as well. This map is super easy. Probably, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, probably the easiest map there is to fast expand on. Shakura is possibly fractionally easier, but I mean, a Hana narrow ramp there, so absolutely simple to do. So this is on the ladder. I think it's the Korean ladder that this is being played on. Zenio, obviously a very good player. Obviously, we do have the probe coming down to scan. Now, it may actually be a Nexus first. That's always a possibility. It depends really how brave Sage is feeling or how forceful he wants to be. Currently, Zenio is up to 15. He should get down that pool very shortly. There we go. The reason you go pool first and not hatch first against Protoss is if they do go for that forge fast expand, which is very common, then they can obviously cannon rush either your natural or your third base. But Sage is looking like, oh no, it's gonna be the forge, so it's not gonna be a Nexus first, which I thought was a possibility. That's fine though. Now, either way though, Zenio, he has to be thinking about what he's going to do to transition out of this. Hana, not the best map, because obviously the way you deal with a Forge Fast expansion is you take your third base at about 4 to 5 minutes, ideally around 4 minutes 20, and therefore if you do that, you do have problems defending, because obviously it's a very wide area here to defend, and these rocks are take an awful long time to go down. Now, Zenio will attempt to take his third base first now because of the pylon block at his natural, but again, it can be a little bit awkward to do. He does have enough minerals. There we go, so that's down. Now, the big concern is whether Sage does drop down a pylon for cannons. He did cancel the cannon at the natural base, so that's all good. The Overlord flying over, just getting a scout off of what's going on, everything fairly normal. Now, obviously, if we do take a look, we have 4 Zerglings on their way out. That's a very standard thing to do. 2 to 4 Zerglings are ideal, because that way you can deal with this probe, which hasn't been seen yet by Zenio. And, well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Will the Overlord spot it? It should do. Yep, the Overlord can see it. So, essentially, though, that probe is now going to die to that Zergling ball. And, essentially, that will mean that Sage will not be able to put on any pressure in the form of cannon rushing or anything like that. His ball off is pretty much complete. He's now safe. His Nexus nearly done. Zenio, on the other hand, his third base is about 2/3 done and has just started his natural, which will put him in exactly the right spot. I mean, that natural started, what, about 17 seconds ago? So call that about 4 minutes, 10-15. So that is all very good for him, because essentially that just means that he's got everything in the order he wanted. The 2 gas just finished up there for Sage. No gas yet for Zenio. We won't see any gas for roughly until he's about 40 to 50 supply. That is the best point to try and get out those gas. Usually 4 all at once. That works very effectively. The first queen wandering down here, and the second queen is back at the main. It'll be interesting to see whether Zenio chooses to go for 1 queen per hatch, or if he gets 1 or 2 extra queens purely for creep spread, which is something I personally think is very effective, especially on a map like Hana, where it is quite a narrow map essentially, so you can easily cover everything. It gives you good warning of any enemy movements or any run-bys, and keeps an eye on the pylons, which pylons are going to be the threat here, because obviously you'll see the probe coming over. Now, it'll be interesting to see what strategy Sage goes for out of this. So far, he does have the Cybercore on its way, then he'll really reveal what he's going to do. This map does have some interesting things. For example, an Observer and Blinkstalkers could get you up here, although that can be a bit awkward to do against Zerg. More likely, I feel, is that we'll see a Robotics Bay go down, and then the follow-up from that will be obviously a 2 to 3 Immortal push, which with a lot of sentries, and that is very potent. And due to the narrow ramps, it can be very quick and easy to basically block those off, but only that is not going to be what's coming down. We've got the Twilight Council, so perhaps Blink is on the cards. That is one of the options. Obviously, you could also have a DT rush out of that, but that's a lot more uncommon. And to be honest, I think Zenio would hold that fairly easily. Now, 2 gas have been started already, so that again fairly normal timings at about the 50 mark. We should see the third and fourth gas taken shortly. Worker count wise, 34 to 46. Zenio does have all three of his bases up now, but only the 2 queens at the moment. So once the third queen comes down, obviously with the inject, we'll start seeing absolutely incredible production, especially once the worker count starts getting higher. Now, this is great. The evolution chamber and Roach one started at the same time. You should always do that. The reason being, the Roach one gets you roaches out, which protects you against ground units, and then obviously the Evo chamber allows you to get spore crawlers for both detection against DTs, and also allows you to get those spore crawlers out if there is air. Now, the important thing as well is Blink is just started by Sage. He has got the robotics bay coming on, so robotic facility rather, and that makes me think that we're going to see that Blink play, which can be ever so effective. You basically get an observer here, you come over, blink the stalkers up, and they can go to town. Now, if we take a look at Zenio's base, he's got that lair coming. His third base is looking quite nice. He's got 3 queens out now. He's actually 4 queens are out already, so that is pretty nice. Needs to move them around though, just so obviously injects are going off everywhere. The worker count now climbing up. He'll get to about 74 plus, and then he'll start really pumping those units. And so far, it's looking like he's going to get roach speed. I mean, he's getting the lair up. He's doing all the right timings for that. He's got 4 gas just starting up now as well. That warp prism is actually going to be the unit of choice. That's quite interesting. That'll allow for those resupplies very, very quickly. And I can't wait to see how Sage uses this. There is obviously the Overlord placement around. A lot of Zerglings are here, but speed isn't done quite yet, so won't want to engage those Stalkers. Once speed kicks in though, those Zerglings would absolutely wreck the Stalkers there, so that is something that Sage needs to be careful of. If we take a look around at the map, we have 3 more gateways being added on. That'll take us to a grand total of 4 gates, which with Blink as well is actually very quite potent, but you still can comfortably expand to your third base behind that. The rock's still up obviously now, and well, in come the Stalkers, the Warp Prism on its way over as well. The Overlord will see it, and there's an awful lot here of Zenios to defend, so I personally reckon that Zenio is going to find this very, very easy to deal with. And really, he could knock out these Stalkers right here. He gets a good surround on one of them with those Zerglings, but a great pickup. We're now dropping down onto the high ground. Of course, Blink is done, so they can get away need be, and well, no Blink actually going down, just picking them up again, and Zenio just doing an amazing defense at the moment. He's not allowing any pressure to come in. That Spine Crawler is coming down. We've got Spine Crawler at the third as well, so that's a good move. The Macro Hatch just getting started. The Infestation Pit on its way down. Obviously, these Zerglings are the threat. You need to be able to be very, very quick with picking up and putting down. Exactly as we're seeing, we've got the +1 missile attack on its way out from Zenio, as well as road speed and the Overlord speed upgrade. That's compared to 1-2 coming out here for Sage right now, so he is definitely getting ahead in terms of that worker count, which again, in terms of the upgrades rather, which is absolutely great worker count wise, 62 to 52, so actually in my opinion Zenio not as far as ahead as he might like. He is starting to build a couple more waves of creeps, of drones rather. I keep getting mixing up my words, this is absolutely awful, but nonetheless we do now have a drop coming down behind, and this is exactly where you want to be poking and prodding. The road speed is finished though now, and that is going to really slow things down. We do have the Spire on its way. Creep spread from this Overlord is going to delay the third attempt of Sage quite substantially. I think it's over a minute it takes for this creep to recede, but again, don't quote me on that. There is a really good post on TL though about that, so we'll wait to see. More gateways being added on now, quite a lot actually, and that'll take the grand total up to, well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, is that right? 4, 8, 9, yeah, 10, so there's an awful lot of gateways right there, and that's going to give absolutely massive production capability. The 2 Immortals are out, obviously a lot of sentries as well, 3rd Immortal on the way. Now, this is something we saw at Insomnia 46 in terms of Sage's strategy in the sense of lots of Immortals and lots of sentries from some of the players there. It is very, very good indeed now, and well, this is all going really, really nicely at the moment. I mean, Zenio, he's securing his 4th base. It's a perfect time. It's going to keep him base up. This drop could pose some problems, but there's a lot of Zerglings and a couple of Roaches around there as well at the moment. So, to be honest, as long as Zenio's reactions are good, he'll be able to defend that very, very easily. Obviously, the +1 melee attack and +1 ground armor for Zerg on their way out, as well as a lot of infestors. Now, these Stalkers may be able to do a little bit of damage, but great blink back. He just gets a couple of hits off for nothing, and that's why we're seeing a lot more resources lost for Zenio compared to that of Sage. In terms of the worker count, 72 to 55, so Zenio will now start pumping units very, very heavily, and that's the right thing to do. I mean, he's getting close to maxing out now, and with those infestors, with the roaches and the zerglings of course are 0-0, the roaches are 1-0. That is compared to upgrades of, well, essentially 2-1 for Sage right now, who's getting 3-2 already out, plus 3 ground weapons for the Protoss, nearly finished, and, well, once that kicks in, that's a big upgrade advantage there for Sage. And I mean, Zenio, he's going to struggle to deal with this unless he gets a very good angle, and that's precisely what he's trying to do. Get those zerglings around the side, trying to get this around. This is some nice movements right here. He's getting in great force fields though out of Sage. Look at all those units completely trapped. Now just happily able to go and start picking things up. We've got some Immortals taking an awful lot of damage. They do manage to stay up, and yet again, absolutely fantastic engagement right there for Sage. But here come in the infestors. Obviously the chain fungal growth will make things a lot more difficult to deal with. And, well, as you can see, just big damage being done absolutely everywhere. The fungal growth is coming one after the other. A lot of sentries went down there, but a great blink forward will pick up quite a few of the Immortals. And essentially, it looks like Sage is picking up the momentum that he needs, and still about 2,600 more resources lost from Zenio compared to Sage. That is an awful lot, and while he does have a lot more income, he needs to be careful of what Sage is going to follow up with, because he's got a lot of units on the field. He's got that War Prison with an awful lot of gateways. I believe it was 6 gate. No, it was 10 gate, wasn't it? It was absolutely ridiculous. Hive is about to finish up here for Zenio. It does have the Spire as well, so Broodlords can start very, very quickly. 7 Zealots morphing in at the same time. Charge is done, plus 2. Protoss ground armor is on its way, plus 3 ground weapons already finished. That's compared to 1-1 for all of Zenio's units, both melee and ranged. So, again, upgrade advantage clearly there for Sage. This creep spread isn't as good as it could be in my opinion, but obviously it is getting there. The Observer is able to deal with a lot of it, and this push just has so much momentum. Sage doing so well, and Zenio is having to pull back to defend. He needs to be very careful with how he deals with this pull, otherwise he could essentially lose here and now. I mean, as you can see, the third base just gets absolutely vaporized by those 4 Immortals and the rest of the units there. And of course, another massive warping coming in. Templar Archives are on their way out behind this for Sage. Zenio panicking, really getting a hell of a load of Zerglings and Roaches. A full surround comes down, but on the ramp means that Sage has just such a good position. A great blink back, and well, a lot of drones have been pulled here for Zenio. That's going to essentially cause him to lose a lot of income. I mean, he's down to 70 already. If we look at workers, killed 14 compared to 2. Not that many, but the natural base now looking like it's going to go down. That infestation field will probably get targeted. Zenio waiting to try and get a good angle, but great force fields on the natural ramp. That warp isn't being used so effectively. And to be honest, Zenio, he GG's out, because there's just no way he can deal with that. Sage just systematically took him apart. Went so heavy with that harassment with the 4 Blink Stalkers and War Prism, and that basically allowed him to build up an army behind it. Now, if you did enjoy the cast, people, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, that will be awesome. But most importantly, see you again soon. I get new content up daily, and that is why you should sub. And, well, I'm Maddles. This was a StarCraft 2 England cast, and thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.